Okay, so we're going to jump in. We're going to keep it really casual. Really just want to give you a chance to showcase yourself, let everybody know who you are, if they don't already know you, and just really get a sense of what's behind your art. So let's begin. So today we are super excited to be sitting down with the renowned Santanu Hazarika, who needs no introduction in many parts of the world, but is a renowned artist, award-winning creator, and a pioneer in India's NFT movement. He's no stranger to the NFT space, with his previous collection with a renowned music producer and artist selling out within 37 seconds, which we'll talk about, of course. And he's also done some heavy hitting collaborations with household names that you would definitely know. So without further ado, I want to give him some time to just let us know about himself and really give us an insight to himself as an artist and a creator and a pioneer. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And so, yeah, I'm Santanu Hazarika. I'm a visual artist. I basically love to draw and paint, to put it in a very simple way. And I'm a self-taught artist, so I don't know nothing about the art movements or this or that. So I just got into this all by myself. My background is in engineering, actually, and I've been practicing art and design for the past almost a decade. It's going to be almost 10 years since I've been doing this. So I design sneakers, I paint murals, I do digital art, I do branding, like everything that falls under visual arts. I even started directing recently. So everything that you see, everything that appeals to your sense of sight, and that is my medium in a nutshell.
Awesome. And so, how did you get started in the space? Let's start from the origin story to where you are now. How did you really get started with art in general?
Art in general. So I will straight up like, so I got into art because of mangas and comic books. So I was just talking with my assistant here. Like I have one of the first Naruto first editions that came out. I didn't even know this was the ancient vintage copy. So I got into art because I really liked comic books. I really liked anime. I really liked cartoons and stuff. And I used to replicate and copy them, and I didn't have any other talent. So this was the only thing which kind of made me cool among my peers and my friends. So that's how I got into art. And I never knew that art was somewhat like a profession, because where I'm from, it's a small town in the northeast of India. There are not many artists. There's not much exposure when it comes to art or design. So always thought that art, maybe it's just a hobby. This is what we were made to believe. So for the longest time, I've always been like studying. I'm a science graduate. I did engineering, but then art was never there. But I always kept drawing. I always kept making artworks. I used to work for most of my musician friends. They were into like heavy metal and rock bands, so I used to make the album covers. So you can say that that was my first like commissions. Those were my first clients, or were all my friends. So, and that's how I got into art and design, and slowly one thing led to the other. By fourth year of engineering, I was really bad at like engineering. I sucked at it, like nothing. Like I was the worst kind of engineer. I failed in all of my exams, and my parents were also like kind of depressed. I was depressed. Actually, I had undergone like I was diagnosed with depression by third year of engineering, and then I was under medication for the longest time. Even now, sometimes it's on and off. I have episodes of it, but then it's much better now because I got art to deal with it now. So, and after that, in fourth year, I think someone tagged me in one of a post by Red Bull for their first ever, like not first, I think second Red Bull World Doodle Art Championship. So I took part in that competition, and this was my do or die situation. So in order for me to actually drop out and like prove a point to everyone that okay, I can be a good artist, I can choose this line of work, because like this is a stereotype in India. If you're an artist, you either die broke or you amount to nothing. So I had to sort of break that stereotype. So I went to the competition, I won the national, and then I went on to win the international round also. So I became the first ever Red Bull Doodle Art champion. And from then, that day onwards, I dropped out, and I've been pursuing a career in art, and the rest is history.
Okay, what a background. I know what it's like. I was also engineering, and it's one of those things where you go into it and you have the best intentions, but if your heart isn't there, it doesn't make sense. So it's really special to hear how you took a chance and then you went full into it. I'm sure that wasn't
Yeah.
easy.
I have special respect for engineers. Like really well done. Yeah, like it's not that easy.
No. Can we pause for 1 second? I'm hearing some sort of echoing that I think we can remove, but can we try? You're using AirPods, right?
Yes.
Earphones. Can we just, we're going to pause now. So can we try it without it? Maybe are you using your phone or yeah, let's try it without it. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from. Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, is the echo there?
And yeah, the echoing is gone now. There's something, I think we can remove it, but let's try the rest of the interview without the
All right,
headphones.
cool, cool. All right, no problem.
Hey. So just as a sign for our editors. Okay, so the way I understand your story is the Red Bull competition, the doodle art competition really set you off on your career. What are some of the other competitions and major events that you participated in right after that up until now?
I mean, after that, when I got back, that's when actually my real like struggle started because like I was breaking into an industry which never existed in our country in a way because there were no artists were not celebrated. Like there were only few contemporaries who were considered to be like the big names, but there was no like art like for my generation who were really kind of like making a mark or actually doing something or being exposed or actually celebrated in the country. So when I got back, I started working with other musicians. Started taking up projects. I started working with the government. I started doing shows. I started curating shows actually to highlight more artists from my part of the country. So one thing led to the other. I've been like constantly working on multiple projects simultaneously, starting from big brands like Adidas to like Porsche, to name a few. And then I mean, there are a bunch of other brands. I think around 80 or 85 collaborations I've done over the last few years with some of the biggest names in the industry. But then this is all organically. So I just kept working at it, just building my whole brand as an artist, started promoting started promoting art and started talking more about art. So started to build a dialogue and actually sort of uh, helped in building a community which was kind of getting more attention, like starting from street artists to graphic designers to painters to contemporaries. So it became like a huge circle of people who were supporting each other, and also we had a lot of fun while we were at it. And yeah, and also we started this one collective called Guwahati Art Project to mainly uplift and build design dialogue where I'm from. Because it's a small town, there's not many mentors or not many people to where kids can actually go to for guidance in art and design. So we started that, and yeah, pretty much, yeah, Red Bull became one of my biggest clients because, and then started working with IPL teams, cricket teams, uh, like started doing a lot of design stuff for like fashion oriented brands and stuff. So it's been all over the place. I was not stuck to one kind of medium. Whichever opportunity I got, whichever medium was put in front of me, I took advantage. I used it to its full potential. So it's just
Yeah, it's great to hear how versatile you are. So you're not just on one medium and you're not just working with one brand, you're all over, you're doing different types of art, different places. So it's very dynamic of you. I would say when working with brands, do you have any experience or how would you say that brands are adapting to the digital art space? Do you feel like they're working more with artists like you? Because in the past, I know, we'll say maybe 10 years ago, brands just had their own in-house stuff and they were very structured. But from what I see, brands are branching out and doing lots of different things. So working with brands, do they give you a lot of freedom? And how do you like working with brands like Adidas and Red Bull and all of these major, alcohol companies? What is it like working with them?
I mean, the thing is, I have established myself as a standalone with an artist with a distinct style. So most of the time when the brands approach me for work or any collaboration, I have the say in it because they are the ones who are approaching me for whatever project it is. And I have sort of built up a visual language like through social media, through dialogues, through workshops. So it's given that if you want something different, you have to give me complete freedom. And then also I have it in my contract now and then, like it's like I am not gonna be forced to do something that I'm not comfortable with, or this many changes, or this that. So it's all contractually bound. At the same time, brands also have an idea that okay, this guy has to execute the project the way he wants it to actually have a really decent piece of work. So that way, I am quite grateful and I'm blessed in a way that I don't have to face all of those issues. But initially, yes, I had to when I was starting off because I didn't have a huge portfolio or didn't have a brand of Santanu Hazarika. So I had that struggle, the number of changes, like you have to drop everything and just check your email and like, okay, 10 different checklists of changes and you have to get down with it. But I have had that issue. But to be honest, right now, due to like social media, especially, brands really approach artists and designers based on the reach and stuff that they have on social media also. So there is I've seen a new trend of sort of like art fluencing, like art influencing, where actually like if there's an interesting project or an interesting activation, be it an alcohol brand or be it like Absolute, they do a special bottle like art edition every time. So they always go to other designers and graphic artists and give them the opportunity and also the freedom to experiment with the brand and the projects. So that way, I think social media is a key point or maybe a game changer when it comes to artists like us to actually work with brands and sort of mixing the two worlds of like digital marketing, branding, art, and uh, the whole industry basically.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about social media. It's such a powerful force. Looking at your follow, you have a very large following, but it's also super engaged. I know there are different tricks and things that people use to get lots of followers, but if you look at your Instagram, your Facebook, you're highly active, and the people that follow you come to you not just to look at what you're doing, but to engage. Do you have any advice for other creators who are talented but want to start building that strong social media following? I know it's not easy, but do you have any advice on how they can even do that?
I mean, I mean, it's a very cliche thing to say, but it's just about authenticity. To be honest, like if you're authentic with your work and if you're honest with your work, and the things that you're putting up is exactly who you are, and you're not trying to portray something else, and that honesty needs to be there. It doesn't matter if it's your art that you're putting up, doesn't matter the kind of content that you're putting up. If there's a level of honesty and authenticity to your stuff that you're like putting up on social media for your viewers, you will definitely start gaining more followers or get that engagement. And also, secondly, I believe no matter how big social media gets or whatever happens, nothing beats a physical interaction. So I do a lot of workshops. I go around, I paint, I show up in places. I make it a point to actually network and talk about art and be in the right rooms at the same time, meeting people. Everything cannot be just based on your virtual or your social media appearance. It has to be physical at the same time. So I think it's the mix of both which actually really helps you grow a good engagement and also at the same time a good amount of followers.
Yeah, thank you for that advice. I'm sure there are a lot of creators who are out there who can take parts of what you just said and really use it right away. It's not about tricks, it's not about gimmicks, it's about authenticity and being present. So, yeah, let's pivot and talk about NFTs. So, how did you come to NFTs? And let's talk after that, talk a little bit about your own NFT collection.
All right. So NFTs, I think it was during COVID. during the whole NFT boom and the crypto boom, or whenever like when that happens, people started just talking about it. But actually, I got introduced to it way before that. I was into this game called Axie Infinity. So I like, because I'm a big Pokemon fan, so something really close to that, which involved a lot of collecting and breeding and stuff like that. So I'm like, I was into Axie Infinity, and I already got to know about Rani and all the digital water stuff and all, but I never knew that this could actually become so big. So my first introduction to NFTs or like NFT gaming or crypto would be through gaming. And I love video games. I love gaming. So I think that's how I got introduced to NFT. Well, it was through Axie Infinity.
Okay. And yeah, I'm sure many people watching this are familiar with Axie and the big boom that it had at the beginning of during the pandemic. And it's still to this day, it's a very influential Web3 project. So let's talk about your NFTs and what you'll be bringing to the Blind Boxes platform.
All right. So this is a fun little piece that I made for a group show, which was with Upside Project, as we all know it. So we had a exhibit here, and our topic was sort of like future. Like I wanted to do like a future dystopian kind of a scenario. So my piece was called births.ai. And as I told you, I got into art, and my art style is heavily influenced by like mangas and comic book inking and comic books essentially. So I wanted to create a cover of a comic book, and the comic book series was named as births.ai. So if you look at the NFT, the first or the Genesis edition of the comic book is actually dated as 31st March 2099. So I wanted to create a universe in a distant future where the comic, like collecting a comic book or comic book covers, have become a like a relic, a collectible relic. So this cover in itself is a collectible, which is like even in further future. So it's like a future past scenario that's happening. So people are collecting and buying an NFT, a digital version of a comic book cover, which existed in 2099 called births.ai. And the whole concept behind the comic book or the cover is basically, if you look at the image, there is like a woman who's giving birth to a baby, but the birthing process, the whole delivery is actually done by machines. And there are like few doctors on the screen here and there just observing the whole process. So the whole concept around this thing is basically that how in the near future, like AI would sort of become like a like a major factor in bringing souls to life or into reality. Something artificial is actually pulling out a soul into a physical and real world. But right now it's the other way around. Like this, we as organic beings or as actually real beings are creating the artificial. But in the near future, the artificial will be creating the organic or the real physical selves. So the whole first touch feeling, the first time a baby actually comes to a world, and the first touch, the sense of touch, is not that of a mother or a human being or the doctor, but that of machines and AI and steel. So that's the whole concept around the NFT piece and the artwork. And just like any other comic book, or the first comic books which comes out, the first edition, there are always variant covers. So the first one has a physical piece. The first NFT, the main Genesis NFT of that series, is actually has a physical canvas print which is around 4 by 5 feet, which is signed and numbered, one piece.
Wow.
And anyone who collects the NFT gets that original piece also. And there are other three variants of different color variations, which are again like comic book variant covers. These are the NFT variant covers of the same piece.
Okay. Wow. You're folding in many concepts there, especially the concept of AI, which we should talk a little bit about before we go. But so just to reiterate, you're saying that one of the NFTs comes with a physical piece of 4 by 5 feet. That's
Yeah,
massive.
yeah,
Amazing. Okay. It's going to look great on someone's wall.
yeah. It's for
But
vintage stuff like that.
you like to do, I'm sorry, did you say that you like to do large format?
Yeah, I like to do large format, provided if someone's really into stuff like that. I mean, because it's quite graphic also, the piece.
Oh, I've seen it. I think it looks very cool. So, well, again, we're very excited to be bringing you to the platform. We've written some articles about it, and people can always go and check it out. But I want to talk to you before we go a little bit about your perspective on AI. AI is in the news; it's all around. How do you feel? Do you have any feelings about AI as an artist and as a human?
I mean, me as part engineer, part human, I have always liked technology. I've always loved technology. I've always loved the concept of AI, and I'm a big science fiction fan. Like anything sci-fi is like I'm sold. So this whole AI thing feels like a movie script for me, and I'm really excited. To be honest, I think AI is a very good tool. Like I think it's something which is very interesting, and I think we should use it as a tool. Nothing more than that. I mean, there's always been advancement in technology throughout ages of mankind. There's always been some sort of progress with technology, be it the assembly line or be it the first man stepping like on the moon or whatever. There'll always be people who like worried about okay how this technology is gonna industrialize or sort of like the question here is, will AI take my work? Like, will I be jobless? And me as an artist, should I be worried that, like, as a graphic designer or an artist, that AI will just take over everything and I won't have any jobs or like I won't have money to pay my bills? But I think this was inevitable. This would have happened either way. Doesn't matter. It's technology. It's meant to make sort of decrease human influence over thing, make things more efficient, and also increase creativity in a way so that we can produce and create more. So I think this is a very tricky situation. At the same time, I feel like AI is a boon for artists like me because I kind of use AI in a lot of my projects. I've been using it, I've been implementing it. I've been, like, for example, creating storyboards, creating concepts, mood boards, references. I mean, it just cuts down the time and it's good. And me as an artist, I should actually learn more about AI because there is no stopping it. Either we just join it, learn about it, be like get more used to a certain skill set which will be helpful in using AI as an artist and get on with it. And that's all there is to it. I am not threatened or I'm not intimidated by it. And if AI art becomes a thing, I can still draw stuff, I can still paint stuff. I mean, then this hand painted things which are created by hand will become a niche that will never die out, and there'll be more longing for collectors to get something which is real, which is not virtual and its core. And then I'd still have that skill set to actually create that, even if AI takes over all the graphic designing stuff.
Exactly. It's so great to hear that you have this positive and forward-looking outlook when it comes to AI, because again, like you said, some people are so worried, and it's obviously something that we should all be thinking about, but you're already using it as a tool. It's saving you time. It's helping your creative process. And then, like you said, it's never going to replace that in-person element, which you already have so much, as you see through your social media, through the foundations you started, through the things you do in person. You're a very in-person person. So someone like you, I would think, would only benefit from this future, especially since you know about it, you're aware, and you're already using it. So that's great to hear. Awesome. Well, we're going to wrap it up, but if you would like to just let the audience know where's the best place to follow you, shout out all of your social media links so we can follow you and really get into your world. How do we find you?
I mean, just look me up on Instagram. That's where I'm mostly active. Because just look for Santanu Hazarika art. That's it.
Okay, we'll make sure we put the links on the bottom over here. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to launching your collection on Blind Boxes and collaborating in the future because it seems like you have so much going on. So we definitely look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye. Okay.